In the serene community of Snell Isle, St. Petersburg, Florida, the tranquility of October 22, 2009, was abruptly disrupted. The discovery of Ben Cleveland, a prominent 33-year-old local attorney murdered in his home, sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. Evidence swiftly implicated his wife, Francesca, sparking a whirlwind of lies, love triangles, deceit, and secrets. The murder of Ben Cleveland was intricate, exposing a web of falsehoods and hidden motives. Detectives Darren McLaughlin and Sean Henley were assigned to a case that was far from routine. That fateful night, Francesca's scream echoed through the quiet streets. In a panic, she dialed 911, reporting her husband lifeless in their living room. First responders found Francesca hysterical, her clothes bloodied, crouched beside Ben's body, his throat brutally slashed, blood pooling on the carpet. The scene bore signs of a violent struggle. Upon their arrival, detectives McLaughlin and Henley discovered Francesca inconsolable, holding her husband's lifeless form. Examining the crime scene, McLaughlin noted no signs of forced entry, suggesting Ben knew his assailant. His instinct hinted at more than a mere robbery or home invasion gone awry. As the forensic team started their work, McLaughlin interrogated Francesca. She claimed to have been shopping, returning to find Ben deceased. Meanwhile, Henley questioned the neighbors. Several reported earlier noises and shouting from the Cleveland home, indicating Ben wasn't alone before his demise. McLaughlin and Henley concurred. The case was more convoluted than initially thought. The subsequent investigation revealed Ben's tense demeanor at work that day, leaving unusually early. His professional life, marked by ambition and diligence, also held enemies. However, thorough scrutiny absolved his business associates. The detectives faced a tangled web of deceit, with hidden motives lurking beneath the surface, awaiting discovery. The following day, the investigation commenced in full force. The detectives initiated their probe by tracing Ben's final hours. They discovered that on the day of his death, Ben had departed his office around 5 p.m., earlier than his usual schedule. His assistant described him as unusually tense and distracted throughout the day. McLaughlin and Henley then delved into Ben's career as a corporate lawyer. Recognized as a rising star in his firm, Ben had earned a reputation for his brilliance and diligence, though his ambition had also garnered him some enemies, individuals who warranted investigation. However, a meticulous inquiry cleared his business associates of any involvement in the murder. The detectives then turned their attention to Ben's widow, Francesca Cleveland. Francesca asserted that after a lunch with friends, she had spent the afternoon shopping at Tyrone Square Mall, returning home at 7 p.m. to find her husband slain. During her interview, McLaughlin and Henley observed Francesca's cooperation, yet her tension was palpable. Recalling that night, her voice quivered and her eyes welled with tears, but her narrative seemed somewhat amiss. Her behavior also aroused suspicions. As she recounted her day, she evaded eye contact and frequently checked her phone. Her story appeared rehearsed, almost contrived. When the detectives sought to corroborate Francesca's account, they could confirm her lunch with friends, but found no mall security footage to substantiate her claim of being there. This discrepancy prompted a closer examination of Francesca Cleveland and her history. Francesca Cleveland, a striking and captivating 32-year-old, was a former model accustomed to the limelight and a life of privilege. Hailing from the Como province in the Lombardy region of northern Italy near the Swiss border, she came from wealth. At 18, her modeling career brought her to the U.S. in 1995. She briefly attempted acting, though with limited success. By her mid-20s, as her modeling career waned, she had married Mitchell Abbott, a prosperous Florida real estate developer. Francesca's initial union with Mitchell Abbott was fervent yet fleeting. Their divorce was acrimonious, with Mitchell attributing the breakdown to Francesca's infidelity and extravagant spending. Nevertheless, Mitchell remained smitten with his ex-wife, professing enduring love. Complications arose as Mitchell and Francesca seemed to reconcile their differences, appearing together publicly, though insisting they were merely friends. Ben, her current spouse, harbored disdain for Mitchell and disapproved of their relationship. This friction concealed deeper, darker ties that surfaced later in the investigation. These revelations prompted Detectives McLaughlin and Henley to scrutinize Mitchell Abbott more closely. Upon notification of Ben's murder, Mitchell, residing nearby in a Clearwater condo, seemed genuinely shocked. He professed ignorance about the crime and claimed to have been home alone all night. Mitchell's alibi was dubious, yet no concrete evidence tied him to the murder. Detective McLaughlin opted to keep him under watch. Back at the station, Henley interrogated Cindy Cleveland, Ben's younger sister. Cindy, 25, shared a close bond with both her brother and sister-in-law, but recent tensions had surfaced. She was seen arguing with Ben days before the murder. Financially dependent on Ben since their parents' fatal car accident, Cindy, a student at St. Petersburg College, resented her brother's strict control. During questioning, Cindy admitted to arguing about money and Ben's threat to cut her off, but denied involvement in his death. Her alibi, however, was flimsy. She claimed to have been at a club all night, though no one could corroborate her presence. Francesca's dubious conduct, Mitchell's questionable alibi, and Cindy's strained relationship with Ben created a labyrinth of confusion for Detectives McLaughlin and Henley. They recognized layers of deception and hidden motives that needed unraveling to solve Ben's murder. Outwardly, Ben and Francesca Cleveland appeared the quintessential couple, attractive, popular, with a beautiful home, lavish entertaining, and many friends. Yet beneath this veneer, cracks emerged. Ben's success demanded a toll. His driven personality and grueling work schedule left little room for his marriage. Entering Francesca's life, post-Mitchell, Ben offered stability and security as her modeling career waned. Their hastily arranged marriage, however, proved disappointing. Francesca yearned for the passion and excitement of her life with Mitchell, while Ben grew increasingly troubled by her lavish spending and renewed ties with Mitchell. Cindy Cleveland, the younger sister of Ben, played a pivotal role in the unfolding narrative. Viewed as the family's problem child, Cindy grappled with addictions and failed relationships, relying heavily on Ben for financial assistance. This dynamic fostered growing resentment between them. Cindy and Francesca shared a complex bond. They appeared close, with an undeniable connection. Francesca confided in Cindy about her marital struggles, while Cindy found solace and support in Francesca's presence. As the investigation deepened, detectives uncovered significant financial maneuvers by Ben. He had transferred considerable assets to settle some of Francesca's debts. Her spending habits also raised eyebrows, with bank records revealing large withdrawals and inexplicable expenses. Detectives suspected she might be planning to leave Ben and start anew. Mitchell, though seemingly distant, still harbored feelings for Francesca. Recently returned to town, their meetings appeared friendly, but detectives suspected a deeper involvement. Each key figure held both apparent and concealed motives for potentially killing Ben. Francesca's financial woes were stark. Despite Ben's success, their finances were strained by her extravagant lifestyle. A substantial life insurance policy on Ben, with Francesca as the beneficiary, added a sinister element to this financial pressure. Ben's death would effectively resolve her monetary issues. Mitchell's motives were equally compelling. His enduring feelings for Francesca and jealousy of Ben created a volatile situation. His frequent visits hinted at a rekindled relationship that could have morphed into a plot against Ben. Cindy's resentment towards Ben was well known. Living in his shadow and dependent on his financial support, their argument days before the murder centered on money and control. This deep-seated resentment could have driven Cindy to murder. Her emotional bond with Francesca further complicated matters. Forged from mutual dissatisfaction and dependency, this connection led detectives to consider a potential alliance between Francesca and Cindy to eliminate Ben and secure financial freedom. The web of motives and relationships grew increasingly tangled, challenging the detectives to unravel the truth behind Ben's murder. One evening, Detective McLaughlin received a pivotal call from Randy Evans, a local bartender. Evans claimed to have witnessed Francesca and Cindy together on the night of the murder, engrossed in an intense conversation that seemed more than casual. This revelation contradicted both women's alibis, casting doubt on their whereabouts during the crime. Prompted by this new information, McLaughlin and Henley summoned Francesca and Cindy for further interrogation. Confronted with the bartender's testimony, Francesca's facade began to crumble. She admitted to meeting Cindy, but insisted they were merely discussing her marital woes, denying any connection to Ben's death. Cindy, however, grew defensive and evasive when questioned about her whereabouts. Pressed about her relationship with Francesca and their conversation that night, Cindy maintained it was an innocent encounter unrelated to her brother's murder. Despite their conflicting accounts, which now placed them as prime suspects, Mitchell Abbott remained under scrutiny. His frequent visits to Francesca, their growing reconciliation, and his contentious relationship with Ben kept him a viable suspect. A critical juncture in the investigation occurred when Detective Henley uncovered a series of text messages between Francesca and Mitchell. The messages exposed their rekindled romance and secret meeting plans. A message from Francesca to Mitchell on the day of the murder stated, "We need to take care of things tonight. Ben can't find out." Armed with this evidence, McLaughlin and Henley confronted Francesca and Mitchell separately. Under intense interrogation, Francesca confessed to the affair, but denied involvement in the murder. Mitchell, however, maintained his innocence, asserting the messages were misinterpreted. A significant breakthrough came when Detective McLaughlin scrutinized phone records and financial transactions, believing they held the key to concrete evidence. The phone records revealed a flurry of calls and messages among Francesca, Cindy, and Mitchell in the days preceding the murder. The communication pattern suggested an intricate, coordinated effort with Francesca at the helm. On the night of the murder, multiple calls occurred between Francesca and Cindy, along with a brief call from Francesca to Mitchell. While these communications placed all three suspects in contact during crucial hours, each conversation told a separate story, adding layers to the complex web of deceit. Mitchell's role crystallized as detectives scrutinized his text messages. The exchanges hinted strongly at Mitchell's enduring love for Francesca. On the night of the murder, Francesca assured Mitchell of her affection and promised they could reunite once he dealt with Ben. This message, among others, implied Francesca's encouragement for Mitchell to arrange Ben's murder. Conversely, text messages between Francesca and Cindy unveiled an intense, passionate bond, fueled by mutual frustration with Ben and dreams of liberation from his control. However, their correspondence did not explicitly suggest a murder plot. McLaughlin also uncovered an unusual transaction in Francesca's bank account. A substantial sum had been transferred from her and Ben's joint account to an offshore account in Francesca's name alone, mere days before Ben's death. Coupled with a life insurance policy, this transaction indicated Francesca's preparation for a significant life and financial change. But what were Cindy and Mitchell's roles? Equipped with this evidence, detectives confronted Cindy, Mitchell, and Francesca again, presenting them with the phone records and financial transactions. Cindy, interviewed first, saw her facade of innocence disintegrate under intense questioning. She ultimately confessed to an affair with Francesca. "I couldn't bear it any longer. Ben was so domineering. I didn't intend for this to happen, but I felt cornered. Francesca and we had a plan. We're in love. We intended to empty Ben's bank account and flee to the Cayman Islands, but I swear we never planned to kill him." Cindy admitted their romantic involvement and scheme to abscond with Ben's fortune. but denied any part in his murder. With Cindy's statement in hand, detectives then confronted Mitchell. Presented with irrefutable evidence of his entanglement with Francesca, he broke down and confessed to assaulting Ben. Mitchell revealed that upon rekindling his relationship with Francesca, he had fallen deeply in love. Francesca reciprocated, confiding her plans to leave Ben. She assured Mitchell that her marriage to Ben was a mistake and promised a future together once Ben was eliminated. United, they conspired to murder Ben and claim his life insurance, aiming to resume their life together. The intricate web of deceit and desire unraveled, exposing a tangled conspiracy that ultimately led to Ben's demise. The detectives, through meticulous investigation, finally pieced together the chilling truth behind the murder. On the fateful night of the murder, Francesca had summoned Ben home early under the guise of needing to meet. Mitchell, utilizing a key provided by Francesca, entered the residence she shared with Ben. Lying in wait, he ambushed Ben upon his arrival, resulting in a swift yet brutal struggle that ended Ben's life. Confronted with divergent accounts from Cindy and Mitchell, detectives turned their attention to Francesca. Initially denying involvement, Francesca's resolve swiftly crumbled when presented with text messages, bank statements, and the confessions of her accomplices. She admitted her affair with Cindy, but insisted on Cindy's innocence in Ben's murder. Upon further interrogation, Francesca revealed her manipulation of Mitchell, feigning affection to persuade him that Ben's death was their path to reunification. At last, the detectives possessed all the elements to reconstruct the intricate web of deceit leading to Ben Cleveland's murder. Francesca and Cindy's bond had evolved into a fervent love affair, fueling their scheme to drain Ben's bank account and escape his dominion. They yearned for freedom from societal judgment in St. Petersburg, aspiring to start anew together. Unbeknownst to Cindy, Francesca had also secured a life insurance policy on Ben. While rekindling her connection with Mitchell, she orchestrated a plan for him to execute Ben's murder, intending to collect the insurance payout to fund her new life with Cindy. Mitchell would bear the blame, leaving Francesca and Cindy unburdened to pursue their future together. With these revelations, detectives McLaughlin and Henley recognized the unraveled truth. The case, far from straightforward, exposed a complex tapestry of love, lies, betrayal, and desperation. The tangled motives and relationships had finally surfaced, illuminating the dark path that led to Ben's untimely demise. The investigation concluded. Justice awaited those who spun the deadly web, their fates intertwined in a dance of deception and desire that ultimately consumed them all. On January 4, 2010, Francesca Cleveland and Mitchell Abbott stood before the Pinellas County Courthouse in Clearwater, Florida, entering guilty pleas for first-degree murder. In return for their admissions, the death penalty was dismissed, and they received life sentences without parole. Presently, Francesca serves her term at the Lowell Correctional Institution north of Ocala, while Mitchell resides at the Florida State Prison in Rayford. Cindy Cleveland, initially suspected of involvement, was exonerated. Despite her plans to flee with Francesca, no evidence linked her to the murder plot. Overwhelmed with remorse, Cindy committed to transforming her life. She completed her education, earning a master's degree in education from the University of South Florida. Today, she resides in the St. Petersburg area with her husband and 2 children, working as an educator. Post the arrest and conviction of Francesca Cleveland and Mitchell Abbott, detectives McLaughlin and Henley earned acclaim for their meticulous investigation. They continue their distinguished careers at the St. Petersburg Police Department, renowned for their investigative prowess. The intricate love triangle culminating in Ben Cleveland's murder had been disentangled, yet its repercussions linger. Justice prevailed, but at a grave cost, exposing the depths of human weakness and the catastrophic outcomes of selfishness and unbridled desires. The truth, once laid bare, brought closure, yet it left an indelible mark on all involved, a haunting reminder of the destructive power concealed within the human heart. The echoes of this tragedy serve as a sobering testament to the consequences of deception and the irreparable harm it leaves in its wake. For those touched by the events, life continues, forever altered by the revelations and the harrowing journey that unveiled the darkest corners of the soul.